Raj, I'm so excited that you are here to update me on what you're working on with Wise Therapeutics.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Yeah, glad to be here. Super excited to be out and about
It's
in Miami.
Yeah.
Right?
You are doing something really cool. You're using simple seeming games
Yeah.
to open up access to mental health, which I think is a really interesting use case for gamification. So walk us through what Wise Therapeutics is doing.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll have to start by saying my co-founder, Dr. Tracy Dennis-Tawari, started this journey actually almost 10 years ago, working on the science behind what we do.
Okay.
You know, I have the easy part, which is I can make it engaging and fun and add the game layer to everything. But yeah, we've been working on this she's been working on the science for 10 years. We're building products that are built for consumers to engage early in mental health. So we really feel that one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing in mental health is that people aren't getting diagnosed and they're not taking actions for self-care. A lot of the barriers are that, people feel stigma, they're not ready to go to a therapist, maybe they're not into mindfulness. So what we want to do as a company is really put a better accessibility in their hands by leveraging something they're already doing, which is casual gaming. There's 83 billion downloads of mobile games last year.
Okay.
So this is already happening, and what we've been able to do is really embed this psychological technique into gameplay so that we can give patients an easier way to engage with mental health, and then from that point move them up, escalate if needed, or just provide the treatment and hopefully help them with the stress and anxiety that they're dealing with.
Okay, so let's break down what this actually looks like for a patient. Your first product is called Personal Zen.
That's right.
And it kind of works like a swipey mobile game.
Yeah. That's the beauty, right? Yeah, of a casual game is you don't really need to teach people how to use it. It's a very pleasing, haptic-oriented experience. So you basically with your thumb you trace trails. The trails disappear as you trace them. But what we're actually doing behind the scenes is we're training you to focus on positive stimuli rather than negative stimuli. And so it's happening at a subconscious level.
How do you do that?
So the way that this is a scientific technique called attention bias modification training, which is where in a very specific set of intervals you display two different stimuli to a user, and then you drive their attention towards the thing you want them to focus on.
Okay. In this case, positive versus negative.
Yeah, happy faces versus angry faces. And so what happens is when you are in a variety of situations where you're being exposed to these different types of influences, maybe a meeting you're going into, maybe a relationship that you're concerned about, you can either choose to see the positive or be tuned towards seeing more of the negative. And so what we really do with this game subconsciously is tune your attention bias neutral to positive. We try to move you from a negative filter to a positive filter through that process.
That word subconscious is so huge here because you're not telling people to smile. You're not telling just be happy. You're actually sort of training the brain to do things behind the scenes.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And I think when we deal with mental health, a lot of people aren't ready to engage with their feelings at a level that it takes when you move into things like cognitive behavioral therapy. The load can be very high. And so what this actually does is it also makes it easier for you to engage with those other tried and true techniques by leveraging the subconscious method of gameplay, giving you a win for the patient, where we've given you something easy to do. It only takes about 10 minutes, 4 days a week to use the treatment. And we have 7 clinical trials completed that show the efficacy of this treatment. So we're not asking for a heavy lift. We're saying play the game. Let's help build your positive focus by playing the game, and then nudge you into other activities that are that you'll be more open to because now you have more neural flexibility to see the positives.
Got it.
That
So the game and the attention bias modification is both a tool itself to improve your ability to see the positive. Or it's changed your attention, but also can be a gateway to other care.
That's right. I mean, a lot of primary care physicians feel very, constrained right now because they're seeing a lot of patients with high levels of stress and anxiety, and they don't necessarily want to prescribe a drug as a first-line treatment. So what this does is basically gives you something that you can provide to patients that is a game, that's non-pharmacological, that can provide the treatment ideally. And if you need something else beyond that, then we're providing data to our back-end system so that providers can escalate care and get a patient to a behavioral therapist or a psychiatrist if they need to for additional treatment.
Now, since I know your company and Personal Zen, I know your co-founder, Dr. Dennis Tawari, and all the work she's done for this. But I also know that if I were a patient or average viewer listening, I'd be skeptical that swiping a mobile game was
it's almost too simple to think that it's going to work.
So, but you're doing these clinical trials, you're doing that clinical work.
We have the data to prove it.
So tell me some of the data that would convince me that this actually has clinical benefits.
Yeah, so I mean, so we do, when we do the clinical trials, they're placebo controlled, and the placebo is actual someone playing the game, but without our algorithm applied. And so, in those types of clinical trials, I'll give you one example, which is with pregnant women, they were given the app, and we were actually able to reduce salivary cortisol levels, stress reactivity, and we've got 7 published trials on our website now where all the data is there. So we're very open about the fact that you've got to have data behind these products. And doctors aren't going to prescribe them if they don't feel comfortable that the data is really there. So,
which is somewhat new. There was a time not too long ago where it was kind of the Wild West of some of these quote-unquote therapeutics.
That's right.
And now we're moving into a new era that you're a big part of.
Exactly. And to that point, we're actually now moving into FDA clearance on a number of these products that will be prescription digital therapeutics. So they'll be prescribed by doctors with FDA approval. And that's really the direction we're going, because when you get the FDA stamp, doctors know that they can trust this product, and we think it's very critical to the compliance side of using these products that doctors are involved, and that patients can be escalated into other care pathways as an integrated part of the way we deliver care.
Got it. What are you most excited about the next phase of Wise Therapeutics?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's scaling it and getting it in more doctors' hands so that this becomes a standard of care. That doctors can prescribe software as a treatment, and I think we can have tremendous impact on the healthcare system by engaging patients earlier and doing that in combination with what providers are already doing today. Yeah.
Top strategy for really getting providers to understand the value of this kind of new therapy. It's hard to break through sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the nice thing about this product is it's very easy to understand and explain because it's a game. Yeah. And honestly, I think what a lot of providers want is to be able to give their patients something simple, something that's not a huge lift. And so we've seen a lot of excitement from providers about both learning and being able to give this as a tool to patients. So,
awesome. And they can see the clinical trial data, and they can see that back-end work you've done.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Raj, thank you for taking the time with me, giving me this quick
awesome.
update.
Thank you so much.
It's really exciting what you're building. It's really unique, and it's going to help a lot of people. So thank you.
Thank you.
And
glad to be here.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Okay.